Hey everyone, today I'm going to be looking at the WarGreymon Figurized Standard Model Kit. Now, this should not be confused with the Figurized Standard Amplified WarGreymon, which is this one. Today we'll be looking at the Figurized Standard Normal one, which is more anime accurate and a lot less detailed, but also a cheaper price point and things like that. But yeah, we're going to be looking at this one that's based on the original design from the original series, Digimon Adventure. So let's get right into it. So here he is, it's the Figurized Standard WarGreymon model kit. I have put in some additional effort out of the box, such as some panel lining on the chest and head, and on the back Brave shield. I have also painted most of the sticker areas on this, except for the eyes, and I'll quickly show you the sticker sheet. So this is the sticker sheet here. So there are the eyes, obviously. These bits are for the horns to colour separate the black bits. Those bits are on the shoulder to get the red bits, and all of these white ones are for the Brave shield, and those little white ones up there are for the thumbs. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Colour separation generally quite good on this. I do say that after just showing the sticker sheet, but I do understand how hard it would have been to colour separate the Brave shield. Not even the Amplified kit did that, even though that was the first one in the line. Oh, well, first one with Megamon, but generally it was one of the first ones in the line, so it's forgiven. But a lot of these parts are all recessed and things like that, so rather easy to paint and detail. So no real harm done there. You are paying less, it's more in line with a standard HG Gundam kit than it is with the Master Grade, so you sort of get what you pay for. But otherwise the stickers are quite good. I would worry about the ones on the horns, just because rounded stickers never really go that well. But that area was actually surprisingly easy to paint as well. I just used basic Tamiya enamel paints. So just those three here, and that did the job. But general aesthetics of the figure, as you can see, very, very anime accurate. I do quite like this yellow. I don't know how it comes out in the video, but it feels like the yellow that they used in the anime. It's like this sort of like a pastelish sort of yellow, and like it's sort of the more regular look of WarGreymon that you'd normally see. I do believe that this is the same yellow that they used with the Amplified kit. Unfortunately, I can't test that theory because I've painted both of my WarGreymons. So just basically, I think that's the same yellow. Not too sure. Same as the flesh color. I believe that's the same flesh color. Definitely sure on the metallics and gunmetal. Those are the same. I think the red's the same because I do remember it being a bit of a dark red. But generally, yeah, looks like WarGreymon, really. Just gonna get a full body shot of him. So you can see him here. I do actually really like the parts in this one. While there isn't a lot of articulation, and we'll get into that in a minute, I do like how these parts are generally designed. Like these metal bits on the front, they're just two bits sandwiched together, that's fine. But the sort of piping sort of things, these red piping things, I don't know what they're called, around the sides, it's this like sandwich piece that creates the entire design. Like there's only two pieces and they just slot in together and perfectly make this design. And I was actually very, very impressed with that. It reminded me why I like Bandai kits so much. Similar here, there's just one really well designed piece that slots right in. Whereas with the Amplified kit, it was a lot more in depth and quite a bit more annoying. These bits are just one full piece, which is why you have to do the stickers for color separation. You can see a base adapter, or you can see a slot for a base to go in. The head is very well detailed. The gunmetal in between there that's sandwiched, like there's little clips next to the armor, that's all color separated. The pipes on the shoulders, that's color separated. It's actually quite nice, and even the gauntlets or the claws that are only a few pieces managed to do some really good stuff. So I'll just stop the rotation and we'll go through it a bit. So like I was saying on the claw, it's sort of just a couple bits sandwiched together to make the orange of the skin, and then a few parts to sandwich it all together. So it's just one silver bit, which is here. Those little gaps in between the claw and this metal bit are meant to be the same yellow. That's just a basic thing, like it's fine, I'm all good with that. I think there's meant to be some extra detail on the belt. I believe there's also a bit more, I can't remember where it was. I'm just going to skip that. But yeah, there are just some very minor things, but really it's no real issue. So you can see the detail in the legs. Like I said, that sandwich piece, it's really well designed. Like even the seam line isn't super noticeable unless you're up close. This was smartly designed and it has a little bit of articulation. And well, while we're speaking of it, we might as well go through it. And now you've probably noticed that WarGreymon's in a bit of a weird like power stance pose. This is sort of his base resting pose that they show. And it's probably the best resting pose you can get out of this because these claws can't rotate around like they can on the amplified kit. If you rotate them, it rotates everything at the upper arm here, and it looks kind of weird, him just sort of ready pose like Wolverine, so I opted to do this sort of goofy power stance. But yeah, we'll go through articulation. The head is on a ball joint. There is a second ball joint in here, just sort of in between the horns. And I've no, oh, actually I think it's just a little bit under. I think it's where the mask meets here. I don't know what it's for, just really no idea. But yeah, the ball joint, you can get a bit out of it. It's getting quite loose, you can see it there. But there we go. You can get a decent bend out of it, all things considered, but you don't get a whole lot of articulation in terms of like moving just the head up. You have to move the neck and everything else, which, you know, take it or leave it. That doesn't really bother me. The shoulder armor can flip around. The elbow is on a ball joint and I can move up that far. If this wasn't here, it could probably move higher, like I showed before. Rotation at the upper arm, there's a bend at the elbow. That's as far out as it can go back, and that's as far forward. It's kind of goofy, but there are reasons for this. The body, it's on a, I think it's a ball joint, I can't remember, but it can swivel, and yeah, there's a ball joint. Get a little bit there. The skirt armor can flip, the front bit can go. The legs can go up that far and can go quite a bit back because there's nothing really blocking them. Can go out that far and can rotate all the way around, but that does sort of pop it out just a tiny bit, so be careful about that. A double jointed knee, which looks kind of goofy because there's a lot of hollow space. The feet can rotate all the way around and can bend just a little bit. Just because this blocks it and there's not a lot of space at the back. Ooh, there's not a lot of space at the back. So yeah, that's pretty much it. There's also the Brave Shield, which can move around. Each part gets in the way of each other. They are on ball joints. But yeah, they get what you need out of it, really. But yeah, nothing too crazy. Now, the reason why the arms are so limited, I believe, is because they're quite good for action poses. Or ready poses and things like that. The legs aren't great for it, unfortunately, because the feet can't do much. But the claws are sort of ready for things like this. You can do the sort of classic, I think it's called the Terra Force, it's been a while, his Spirit Bomb attack. You can do stuff like that without issue because of these arms. So they initially seemed rather limited, but I do think that they get what they need out of it. So I believe one of these basic ready poses, or at least I'm basically just basing it off what I remember from some of the other statues I've seen of WarGreymon. I'm just going to get a visual guide to help me. Okay, so I've got the instruction manual here. So like I said, power stance. That's a bit of an action pose. There's the Terra Force. And there's a bit of an action pose, so I'll try for that one. I'll try for that one, but I'll do the opposite side. Like I said, those feet are really getting in the way. But yeah, you can get a pretty decent action pose. It looks good. Now, one major thing before I do final rounds for this figure, because there's not a lot to talk about for this one, which is fine. Like it's a figurized standard. It's very standard. Which I guess, delivers what it promises. This is the Figurized Amplified, which is sort of more akin to Master Grade size, and Figurized Standard, which is more akin to High Grade. So he is still bigger than an Entry Grade RX-78, which is the same size as a High Grade Gundam. But in terms of scale, he's probably more in line with the HG, because you can see just how much bulkier, even though he's not that much taller, you can see how much bulkier the amplified WarGreymon is compared to the standard. And like I said before, I would have liked to compare the armor and the flesh colors, but completely repainted it, so that's not going to happen. But yeah, look, there's cool things that each one does differently, like the sort of inner armor details around here and things like that. Whereas the inner armor details here have been replaced with the original things, like how they did the spikes here. I really like how they did the tubing stuff here and compared to the tubing bits there. But but I do like that there's an anime accurate WarGreymon to go with the Amplified series. Because the Amplified series, it's an amazing concept, and they've been really, really hitting every note lately. For it, with the announcement of Beelzemon coming out. They are going to be doing the standard Gurumon, standard Magnamon, and I think that this will work quite well. I would be happy if Magnamon's more in the amplified size, but I do like that they're doing anime accurate designs to go with the amplified, because some of these amplified ones are unrecognizable. As much as I love them, and as much as I've said in previous videos that they do look like who they're meant to be. When I have them side by side, not really. It looks like the Amplified is another evolution. Really, like this looks like the Rookie, this looks like the Mega, sort of thing. But look, that's how it is. I am glad that now there is an option, and I hope that they keep going with these lines. It's really cool. And that's pretty much all I've got to say about this figure. It's really good. It's quite simple, but there's nothing wrong with that. Looks like how it's meant to be. Without much effort at all, you can make it look as good as it should be. And yeah, I'm not really disappointed in really any aspect. Like, it could be better in certain things, but I think the price point reflects what you're going to get out of it. And much like the other Digimon kits so far, they're pretty good right out of the blocks, which is great, because some Gunpla and stuff like that, you need to put in more extra effort. In some of the other brands like Kotobukiya, typically you need to glue stuff. Then there's some of the other things like Eastern Model and stuff like that, where you need to put in so much extra effort to get something usable. It's great to have something that you can just snap, put together, looks good, performs well, and is affordable. And that's what this is. It's a good middle of the range introduction kit if you like Digimon and you haven't built any Gundams before, this will get the job done just fine. You don't need to be a master at doing it. I do think the Amplified do that job just as well, but I think that this one will be a lot less daunting because it's a lot simpler and a lot fewer pieces, and a lot less can go wrong because there's not as much crazy inner workings. Like, everything's quite simple. There's not a lot of like crazy inner frame stuff going on, if that makes sense. But yeah, a very good introduction. Really quite liked it. It's simple, but there's nothing wrong with that. And I didn't mention nub marks. Not many, and a lot of them are undergated, so classic high quality modern Bandai. So yeah, quite good. I really enjoyed that, and I hope you enjoyed that video too, and I'll see you all next time.